What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Scott and Ian Show on the SBL Podcast. Hey, how do you get anybody to care? How do you get anybody to care about anything, but especially music that seems to be free in 2023? How do you get people to care? Do you just make music, put it out, and if it's great, just hope that the cream rises to the top? People find you? Maybe. Do you stand outside of shows in your town and hand out flyers like I did in 1999, you guys? You know, like hand someone a flyer and you're basically like, here, you throw this away for me. Maybe. I wonder if flyering will ever come back. Does anyone like remember it or still do it? I used to do it a lot. Maybe that's the way. Or do you just have to like be a monster on social media? Do you just have to give your life to TikTok and promote and promote? Do you have to give your life to Facebook, to Meta, to Instagram, to whatever's next? Do you have to just do a podcast about band life? How do you get people to care? It's so hard to get attention these days, right? And that's what Scott and I are going to be talking about today. Now, if you didn't know, Scott just finished a record. He put out a record. He got together with some freaky musicians for a week, made a record, played everything live with these just monster players. It is like a hard fusion record. It's like hard fusion. Does that genre exist? It does now. And he is putting it out, and he has some really interesting thoughts about how you promote music and how you get people to listen and how he's going to do that. You're going to see Scott practice what he preaches. So if you listen to this podcast and you want to make music, it's so interesting. Take this as a blueprint. Like, check out what Scott does to promote this record, because he's going to do what he says he's going to do. And it's going to happen. So, hey, I have some insights about it. I asked Scott a lot of questions. He has some insights about it. Check it out. We really hope you enjoy this episode. Before we get there, let me tell you what's going on at SBL this week. We have a mentor session coming up on Monday with Todd Johnson, an incredible educator. If you don't know Todd, check out his live stream. We do this thing called the Mentor Seminars every single Monday. I'm a part of it. Jacob Umansky from Intervals is a part of it. Michael League has been a part of it. We've got Todd Johnson coming in. Todd is amazing at speaking to everyone in the room. Instead of assuming that you know everything, he's amazing at speaking to everyone in the room. That's something that I need to work on. I say things and presume people know a certain amount of knowledge, right? A certain amount of specs. People care about the same things that I care about. And Todd is really good about not talking over the heads of the room. He's wonderful. So no matter what level you're at, great. Go check out Todd. But if you're a beginner, he's wonderful. He will make you feel safe and included and not like you're asking a dumb question. He's wonderful. So check that out. That's Monday, May 30th. We also have a brand new sample lesson from our Slap Bass Accelerator. So we have a Slap Accelerator program coming up that is amazing. Even if I do say so myself, I co-wrote it and co-taught it with Scott, and it's coming up very soon, and you can grab a free lesson from it. It's actually part of it that no one has ever seen before. It's been behind the paywall, so to speak, right? You have to pay for it. So essentially, we're giving you a free lesson that you would ordinarily have to pay the $200 for to have access to. I think an accelerator is $197. I think if you're a member, you get it for $50 off, $147. But there's this lesson all about hammer-ons, pull-offs, and it's really cool. There's a riff that we build all this stuff into. It is normally not free content, and you can grab that for free and have it forever. You don't have to, and then you don't have to take the accelerator, but you might want to. That's our hope. Our hope is that you take that and you go, oh my God, I got to see more. We really believe in the program. It's really, really great. Also, we have a funk challenge going on in the campus right now. If you're a member of SBL, there is a campus, a big community where people post challenges. They talk about gear. They talk about their gigs. They ask questions about what's going on, about tunes that they're working on, and they get answers. And there's a funk challenge right now where you submit a tune, you playing on a tune, you can get some feedback from your peers, from the moderators at the campus. It's awesome. And look, nobody makes fun of you. Nobody slags you. It is a very inclusive and encouraging community. could all use a little more of that in the world, right? Hey, so that's what's going on at SBL this week. That's enough of me. Let's get to this episode.
Whoa, I'm like bright. It's bright. Is the sunshine out tonight?
You look very bright today.
Am I central? I'm pretty central.
Like in the shot?
Yeah, I was kind of like this.
Yeah, like this. Over here. Over here.
So how was Scary Pockets? Was it wicked?
Well, okay. Yeah, it was.
Were they scary? And were they in the pocket?
Oh, my gosh. Here's the deal. Sorry.
Was it Nick on bass?
I just need to brighten my thing up so I compete with you here.
Brighten up, dude.
Nick Campbell on the bass. They were amazing. So Scary Pockets came to Minneapolis. They played the Fine Line downtown. Great venue. And Nick, I got to meet Nick before the show, which was so fun. You know, it's always, that thing of like when you meet someone in real life. I remember that when I met you for the first time in real life. Like touching your arms. Like, whoa, this is a real guy. Yeah, man. Nick Campbell, it was great in real life. And he's such a monster. He played a great solo, and he has such command over the whole instrument. The thing that I loved the most about Nick's playing was his command of right hand. So he has this really incredible facility in his right hand to play very softly, but also to do like that smacky thing, kind of that thing that you do where you make the bass growl and grind.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's almost like a slap. You're like smashing your finger through the string or pulling hard to get it to speak. But the way he was doing it, I don't know if he was compressing or what. It all sounded so contained. He would play a line, but the stuff that he wanted to stuck out with snarliness. He had an Alinto P bass with flats, and man, it was really cool. And it really made me think about right hand. You know that thing of when you go see somebody and you go, oh, you think you kind of like, you've seen them play before on the internet.
Yeah.
But then you see them live. You've talked about sitting in front of people at SBL.
It doesn't translate, does it? It's not the same. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. And I really got a sense of that with Nick, like a master of the right hand. I mean, left hand too, killing. And they just had so much fun. They wore cool, like sparkly jackets, dude,
I could do with a sparkly jacket. Who was the band?
Sparkly jackets. Ryan Lerman, who played guitar, and then I don't know the drummer's name. Mustache, brown hair, and I think I've seen him with Pockets before, but I actually don't know his name. And then, but Jack Conti, Swati was on keys, the guy who plays Talkbox, but Jack Conti wasn't there, which I was like, I was sort of surprised by that. Maybe they don't always tour with Jack, but I kept waiting for Jack to like come out. They're like, hey, the guy you've been waiting for. Like I was like, damn, like 4 tunes in, I was like, this dude is really milking his intro, his delayed intro.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there. Yeah.
I imagine it must be hard because obviously he's heading up, Patreon, which is, I imagine that is a hairy gig to have. So CEO, founder of Patreon. So it is amazing to me to watch him put out the amount of content that he does. The YouTube, I think the YouTube show's coming back. Dead Wax is coming back. Yep. Obviously he's got Scary Pockets. He's got an original band with his missus that he does. He heads up Patreon, and is he still on the Instagram thing or not? Is he still at it?
Oh yeah, I mean,
still doing.
I feel like he is. Yeah, I saw something from him recently that I just was so insightful, and he has high value posts, I will say. Where you feel like, oh, you're learning an insight about the business, or some kind of guru wisdom about thinking about, an artist career or content creation. Yeah, I love his content.
Yeah, like he was going on really hard on Instagram a few months back. I haven't seen him on there recently. Maybe it's just the algorithm's not feeding me his stuff, or maybe he's just sort of like dialed it back. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's interesting that, some people are actually killing out there, but the algorithm just doesn't show you their stuff, so you just don't see them. It's a pain in the ass, actually.
I know it is. Yeah. I want to go back to that chronological feed, dude. I loved that.
Yeah, me
Just
too.
Like you saw things in the order that they were posted. But that's old guy stuff now. Bah, that's like saying, get off my lawn, kids. That's old guy stuff to wish for.
Have you checked out Nick Campbell's course on SBL?
Of course.
Have you checked it out? Yeah, it's bad.
Have you checked it out?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I've been all over
so
it.
Cool. It's so cool. I don't have a lot of use in my life for like soloing with pentatonics, and sounding out. But I remember like going through some of it and thinking, oh, this is something I wish that I had actually more opportunity in my life to need that. Now that said, I should be working on these things all the time, right? But my world is so different in terms of what I'm trying to do and what I do on the bass. Where I go, oh my God, yeah, right. These obtuse soloing concepts where you're using pentatonics, starting from a different spot, to get an out sound over a 5 chord. I'm like, damn, that is just not my world. But it's more your world. And have you applied some of that stuff?
A lot of it's kind of sort of like taken from Willis. A lot of it's taken from Gary Willis, that kind of approach. I think that Nick's put his own spin on it, which is really good. But I think a lot of it comes from Willis. And I think that like Nick is a student. He's a student of the art. You can tell that. Like
definitely,
that guy is freaking shedded for years to get that. Yeah, he's a heavy player. So you know that he's pulled everybody else's playing apart and he's figured out what they're doing and applying that to his own playing. So yeah, I've done like a bunch of that stuff with your solo, because you've got a solo project coming up that you're doing. What kind of vibe is that going to be? Talking about, like, are you getting some tapping in there? Like, what? Come on, dude.
Yeah. I'm trying to do all the stuff that I love. So it's going to be, here's what it's going to be. It's going to be a combo of the sort of electronic synth-based sounds and beats that I love, combined with that kind of like Montana spring reverby, tremolo-y thing. So I think I'm going to do a trio. I think I've decided on just a trio. And I have some tunes, and we're going to go for it. So it'll probably be a couple of multi-tracked bass things. So, there'll be a bass part, and then there might be some melody stuff on top. But it's like the city meeting the country, right? Like the old meeting the new. That's the vibe. I haven't asked the drummer yet, but I hope it will be. They don't know. I hope it will be my good friend Reese Kling, who I play with in the Orange Goodness. He is a monster and just so good on his toes and improvising and letting things go where they need to go. Really excited about that. And then I do have my favorite, one of my favorite producers ever, and a good friend of mine named Andy Thompson, who works with Dan Wilson and has worked with Taylor Swift. And he's like the guy, he mixes, he can play violin, drums, keys, bass. He went out on bass with M. Doty for a while. He's playing guitar with Semisonic. Like he's this guy, Yeah. And when he's in the room, I'm just like, everything's going to be cool. So it's going to be drums, bass, and Andy. And Andy will play samples, sounds, keys, guitar. I'm going to have him just bring a few things, give him some references and say, like, please just do the thing that you think will be cool for this.
Do you know when you just said that thing, like when he's in the room, everything's going to be cool. Isn't there massive value with people like that? Just like big, freaking huge value.
Where you just are thinking like, as long as they're a part of the project, the ship is going to be on course. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Being there steadies everything.
Yes.
Even when things get tough, they're gonna be able to figure out the vision. They're going to be able to just make it happen.
Exactly.
And I think that we should all strive to be. Well, you're like that.
Who's that?
Especially with content. Like that's what we do together. Like podcasts. Yeah. For instance, let's say like, come on, dude. We can be honest. Like, I think that we're both comfortable hopping on the podcast and be like, okay,
yeah,
what's going down? Let's go.
What's going down?
But then also, you know, with the stuff that we've done with Henrik Linder, like obviously that's coming up at the weekend, which is great. Guy Pratt, those interviews that we did, you have that same vibe. The content that we've done for YouTube, you had the same vibe there. You've just come with sort of like it's like a persona, isn't it? Like a positive, confident persona. We can get shit done. And if anything goes sideways, I'm not going to flap. I'm not going to tell you how stressful or how complex this is. You're just going to slide with it, and you're going to be like, "It's cool. Let's do this." You know, it's
dude. But you're like that too. I mean, I hate to just hand the compliment back to you.
Bring it, dude.
but it's true. I mean, it's funny because I sometimes come in, especially when I was new to SBL, I would come in really like not stressed, but thinking, "Oh, I don't know how this is going to go," because it was just new. And you would always just be like, "It's all good. Here we go. Roll the cameras. Roll the audio. Let's just go."
Let's go.
And there's something about that, you know. I mean, obviously you've put in a lot of time, a lot of work on this craft of presenting, of playing. But that was really inspirational to me too, of like, not everything necessarily has to be planned to the letter. You don't have to have every move you make super scripted or right. You can hopefully bank on the work that you've done, your internal confidence, and come in and kill it. Not to say you shouldn't prep, but
you know. Like I still get oh shit moments, like where I'm like, you know, for me, like a lot of it, like I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Like, so doing like the Guy Pratt thing or the Henrik Linder interview, it's the first minute. It's the first minute where I'm like, I need to get this off to a great start. We need to get the train, we need to put it on the tracks, and then it needs to start going. It's like that getting the train on the tracks.
Yeah.
That it doesn't stress me out, but I'm always like conscious of it. It's there. It's like niggling at me. I'm like, oh shit. I need to do this thing again. I need to sort of like just make it happen. And I think that, but also just to put it out there, like I've done that before and not done it. I'm trying to think of an example where I was like, shit, I messed that up. I can't think of one, but there's like a couple of interviews that I've done in the past, like probably a long time ago, where I started off in the first minute and I was just like, actually, I can do a better job of this. Let's just start again. And I just called it and started again.
Yeah. Wow.
And they were, they were super cool with it. I was cool with it. You know,
amazing.
So and I think that it's fine. You know, we probably put too much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, and I don't think anybody really notices. Like we've done interviews on the podcast before where we're like, did it go all right? Is it going to come across? Is it going to come across okay? And then everybody's like, whoa, best podcast ever. We were like,
okay. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes we can get a little too self-critical, or you worry about some small detail of the way you felt.
Yeah.
You know, where I noticed that for me is when I do the podcast intros. So, you know, I've tried a bunch of different things over the years, but the podcast intros, dude, sometimes I do those like 5 times because I'm like, nope, I'll get in and I'll kind of stumble on something. I'll be like, shit, you know, start it again. Oh God. And what I am hoping to do and what I'm learning over time is to acknowledge the embarrassment. I'm at my best when I can go like, oh my God, why did I say that? That was ridiculous. Like if I stumble over something, calling attention to it, making a joke out of it, like actually uncovering the embarrassment, that's really difficult. And it's something that I've been working on of just like, oh, something stupid happened. Let's point it out instead of trying to hide it and then doing it over. You know, which I do still now on the intro, but sometimes like just being like, well, that was a dumb thing to say. Hopefully no one heard that. Oh shit, a lot of people did. Great. You know what I mean? And just like roll with it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes as well, it's just doing it, isn't it? Like the repetition of it. It's like anything when you're playing something on, on your instrument, it's the repetition of the thing that gives you the fluidity to be able to execute. So if you were doing like one intro to the podcast, of course, you're going to be putting your mic on and you're going to be, it's going to be a bit clunky because it takes a certain headspace to get into it. Whereas if you were doing like 5 or 10 in a row, you would just, like we were doing with when we batch YouTube videos, right? It's sort of like, oh, wicked. Yeah, we've done 5 YouTube videos today. You just kind of get into a real groove with it. And I think that as a presenter, you get kind of sensitive to that and you don't want to stop. At least I don't. Like one of the videographers like Alan or Gav or whoever might be like, oh, should we have a little break? And I'm like, no. Let's keep going. Let's keep going because we've got to keep moving because I'm in that kind of flow. And I really want to capitalize on that when I'm in that space because I know it might not last forever and I might kind of just sort of like, might lose it and then it takes you a while to get back into the groove. But so I think that it's exactly the same with playing as well, finding that flow state. When you're doing this project, you've got the compositions locked down and it sounds like you've got kind of like an idea of the shape of the sonic sound that you're going to go for. Are you going to play multiple instruments on it, or are you going to play? Is there an Excalibur?
I'm going to bring in a few different things, and I mean, if there is an Excalibur, it's probably one of the 2 jazz basses, the 78 or the 68. Yeah. I am going to play multiple things. And so I'll do synth bass stuff and then I'll do like top line-y, that, kind of like, that Montana sound that I really love on some things, but it won't all be that. There's going to be a couple of like just big fun synth bangers. There's going to be a couple.
How long are they? Because you've talked about really trying to keep them. At one point you were like, I want to do an album just for social, like make it work within that time frame. Is that still the plan or not?
I have gone back and forth on it. And it's funny because I've talked to a friend who has sort of acted as a mentor manager for me, Eric Hutchinson, who, this artist that I've played for forever. And he loves this idea. I had this idea of doing 60 to 90 seconds, but 90 seconds was the cutoff. Yeah. So that you make them. So, when people say on Instagram or like on TikTok, where's the full version? That's the full version. Yeah. And you make a constraint. Okay, we have to do this in 90 seconds. So we're going to come in with this moment. The theme is going to happen on beat 1. We're going to, you know what I mean? It's going to move over to this section. Do we need to maybe up the tempo? Like there's going to be some pressure to get it, to make it fit into a box. And I actually think for a project that's good to have some constraints. Yeah, to say we're not going to do a 7-minute jam for this project, right? But then the more I thought about that, I'm like, oh God, am I making a project for Instagram? And then Instagram next month will be like, now reels can be 3 minutes long. They probably already are.
How long are reels? How long can they be?
God, I think they can be 90 seconds at the moment. 90 seconds is the top. But I'm wondering if I should just let the song be the song, or if I should put in kind of what to me is like a fun time constraint. What do you think? What's your opinion on that?
Well, when you were talking about it just now, the thing that I was thinking about is, do you want to restrict people to the channel that they're going to consume the music on? And maybe you do. Maybe it's maybe it's visual and
interesting.
There's an audio aspect to it as well, and it's actually built for Instagram.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure if it was on Spotify, if I'd be like, I'm going to listen to that album of 90-second songs,
and it's done in 7 minutes, and you're like, oh, okay, weird.
Yeah, like maybe I'm not sure, but I think that's the thing that came up for me. Like, where are people actually going to consume it, and what's the end goal? Maybe the end goal gives you the guardrails to, or maybe the end goal really helps you understand what shape it needs to be. Like, is this for people to consume your music like in their own time through Spotify? Like, is it that listening in the car, listening? Oh, I'm going to put on a Ian Allison's thing. You know, I'm going to listen to that. Is it that, or is it more of a, is it more of a sort of like a something to be consumed on the social channels, mainly Instagram? And
and then, you know, cut to being like, it's social channels, and then people seeing 3 seconds of it and scrolling away, and then it's over.
Here's the sort of like the challenge, I think, is that Instagram is not YouTube, so it's going to be gone.
Yes.
So
you're not searching it.
You are not searching it. You are not going to go back and find it. It's gone. Unless you just keep posting it over and over.
God, that would be a wild experiment, right? Just every day posting the same thing for a month. Yeah. What would happen? Your channel would just tank. I hear you. That's very, very insightful. I think I have, you know what it is? If I'm honest, you know, we talked to Yannick and he removed himself completely from social media. I almost wanted to, it inspired me to do the opposite in a way. It almost made me, for me personally, I couldn't imagine just pulling everything off. Now, Yannick and I are obviously two completely different people. He has a long, long, long list of records he's made. He is a true artiste, band leader, album maker, right? This would be my first solo enterprise. But hearing him talk about completely removing himself from social, it made me actually want to do the opposite. It made me want to dig more in. I was like, I don't like that for me. It's fine. I mean, he's a grown ass man, can do whatever he wants with his career, with his art. But I was like, I don't feel at all the same way about social. So what if I doubled down and did my record there? But I think it's probably a bad idea.
Well, maybe you can have your cake and eat it, right? Maybe just sort of like thinking on my feet. Just for context, for anybody listening to this, you guys out there in the gym, pumping iron out there, or on your way to work or whatever you're doing, right? Just for context, this is the first time that Ian and I have really had any kind of discussion about this music that Ian's going to be making, so we're kind of just like running with it. So just bear with us. Yes. We don't know where this is going to go. So maybe you can have your cake and eat it. Maybe it is shorter songs, so maybe they're like 3.5 minutes. Maybe gives you the ability to create a sonic space that somebody might, you know, kind of. It's long enough for people to get a vibe from it if they're listening to it on Spotify or something like that.
Yes.
Maybe they're not sort of like 10 minutes sort of like, you know, kind of colossal tracks, but they're shorter. They're done in a way that is also visually sensitive. I'm not sure that's the right term, but you know that this stuff is going to go on social, right? Yep. Because you know that, and maybe you leaning into the social aspect of it, i.e. doing the opposite of what Yannick did. Yannick decided to take his stuff off. You are doing the opposite. You lean into this by really figuring out how you can support the launch of this music through social. Like, how do you do it? How do you involve the community in it? Do you get people to... Like, let me think. How do you involve people in the actual creation of the music itself, for instance? Wow. So is it like you're live streaming on Instagram while you're recording the album? Is it that you're doing polls and you're writing in public, as it were? Do you know, like I've been rehearsing in public?
Yes,
I've been sort of like practicing.
Yes.
So you're writing in public and you're like, I'm not sure about the sound that I'm going to go for on this specific track.
You involve them.
Help me figure out which bass I'm going to use. What sonic vibe am I going to go for? So you're involving the community in the actual creation of the thing that you're creating. And then when it comes to launching it, you're going to have way more buy-in because people will feel like they've actually contributed to the creation of that piece of music, of that art. So,
Jesus, dude, this is why you're the guru.
So maybe that's how you have your cake and eat it. And then when you do it, then you also you start releasing the music on Instagram or whichever platform, but I'm assuming it's going to be Instagram. You really start releasing it, and you can release 90-second blocks of the track.
Of course.
And then even shorter ones and all kinds of stuff. You could get really creative. You could get really creative with that. But that's something that I guess sort of like comes to mind for me when I'm thinking about how to really kind of celebrate social, like how to really, celebrate social for what it is in the community on social media, but not pen yourself in and create something that nobody will find because it's been and gone.
Dude, it's so embarrassing that I wasn't thinking in those terms because I really like to think of myself as like social media guy and for sure thinking about how to involve a community. And God, I was thinking about the music to be consumed there, but that's not what it's for. It's for the process, really, right? It's for the engagement and the you use the word buy-in, and that's so right, of like, I saw Ian, over this last month, I saw Ian, just like people are seeing you, working on your upcoming record. I saw Scott, do a poll of what was cooler, the Ken Smith fretted or the F-bass fretless.
Oh, the fretless,
yeah, right? And it's that thing that gets maybe people excited to check it out. They want to hear about it. And then you send them to a different channel like Spotify, I'm assuming, for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I've also got some other thoughts that I was thinking, you should like put together, or we should maybe do this together, like a launch strategy of like, what's the pre-launch? What happens and I do not know shit about this. So I'm just kind of sort of like putting this out there that I do not know anything about this. I've got a great friend of mine, Damien Keys, who he does know all about this stuff. So take what I'm saying.
Right.
Bass player. He's got a YouTube channel and stuff like that. Great guy. He does know his onions. Is that even a saying? He knows his onions? I don't know. It is now.
What we say over here is, my grandpa used to say, he knows how many beans makes 5.
I like that. Yeah. Like that? He knows that. Damien knows how many beans makes 5. So there are probably like a ton of people listening to this and thinking, whatever, man, there's a way better way to do this. But in my simpleton brain, I think, all right, pre-launch, what are you going to do? How are you going to communicate? So for me, I'll be thinking about involving the online community in the creation of the thing itself. So if you're a band, I would absolutely not be like, nothing. And then suddenly, ta-da! Hey, I've done an album. Like that's probably like the worst way of doing it. I think that I'd try to be, and man, I'm trying to do this with my own album as well. I'm failing so far, but I would be. But we're actually recording it in 4 weeks, so I feel like we've got a little bit of leg room to be able to. Come on, we're going to record it, then all of the videos need to be produced, and then it needs to be mixed and stuff. So it's going to be released maybe like 8 weeks after we record it. So we've got time, I think. Yeah. But as it stands, I think that I'll be trying to figure out what we're doing or what you're doing in the pre-launch phase. How do you involve people in what you're doing? Involve them in the creation process of the actual music itself. And then also start talking about the thing. Hey, like I'm doing this, I'm going to do this album. Maybe give it a name, like the project, give the name so people can identify what it is when you're talking about it. Hey, I've got this project, it's called whatever. Yep. So I'd have some sort of pre-launch phase. And then I'd have, when you're actually recording it, definitely doing sort of like shots behind the scenes, or streaming live behind the scenes, whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with. Like me personally, this is the problem with myself, is that when I'm sort of like heads, because I've lived that sort of like, hey, I'm gonna vlog everything while I'm doing it. Like I did that, so I went over to New York, and this was like a few years ago, and I vlogged it all, put it on YouTube while we were recording all of the courses for SBL, and it was brutal. It was. So I really like to just focus on one thing, but it depends, maybe you could bring somebody along and they could do some sort of like behind the scenes stuff for you as well. So can you show people a window into the actual creation process as well? So you involve them in the creation process coming up to the actual recording of the album, and then while it's going on, you're also sharing content, shooting content, pictures, videos of the band as it's going on, yada yada yada. And then, and then there's the launch phase as well. Like what happens when it launches? I think that similarly, you should be thinking about like, how do I actually drive people to go listen to this? In a world where we're absolutely slammed by content left, right, and center every single freaking day, what lever can you pull to make people want to go and do the thing? And by do the thing for you, it's like, go listen to the album. Go listen to it. Is it that there's behind the scenes content that you only get when you purchase one track or purchase the album on wherever, Apple Music or something like that? Like what, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but what can you give people? How do you reward people for going and listening to the music?
That's a great question.
Rather than just saying, hey, just go listen to it, please, giving somebody an actual reason to go and rewarding them for it. And then maybe if they purchase it, and obviously this isn't sort of like a monetary project where you're not trying to sort of like make any money off it, my guess is, obviously, but is there something an action they can take to go and do something, consume the music, and then they email you set up an email or something like that? It's an automated email, ESP. They email the sort of like the receipt that they get, or they do something, and then they are rewarded with the thing. So people do this with books, right? People are like, hey, go buy the book on Amazon, and they put it as cheap as they can. So it's like whatever it is, 99 cents or something. So go buy the book on Amazon, and then email me the receipt, and I'm going to send you like a whole video course that breaks down all of the different bits of the book and more exercises for you to do, and etc. etc. So wouldn't it be cool if somebody was like, oh, you record the thing, and then maybe you just do sort of like a director's cut where you're sitting there kind of like ghetto, you're listening to the actual album, but you're videoing yourself doing it, and then you're speaking this through, and then you're teaching people the riffs. Your commentary, you're stopping, you're actually playing the riffs and say, hey, this is actually what I was thinking here. This is the effect I used, etc., etc. And then ideally, there's some kind of mechanism in there so you can be like, hey, I've actually released my album, and if you want to get this sort of like 90-minute kind of like director's cut where I show you all of the effects, all of the patches that I was using, blah 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 blah. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to give you the actual, you got it. I'm going to give you, as part of this, the presets for the HX Stomp, so you can just download them for free. All you need to do is go check out the album, do this thing, take the action. So that's probably what something like that. I'd have like a pre-launch phase, a kind of a creation phase, and then a post-launch phase. And the post-launch phase would be all about how do I reward people to go check out the album, and can I create extra content that I can reward them for doing that, like extra value, so they can actually learn, and maybe they've got backing tracks and stuff like that. I'm not sure. Just sort of like ideating.
It's so it flies in the face of the old model. And I mean, I know, we're the same age. So I remember making records with my old rock band, and we would do exactly the thing that you said you shouldn't do. Because that was the model, right? You hole up in a darkened place and you brew, and then you're like, fa-fa, you birth this thing suddenly into the world. And then no one cares.
Nobody cares, yeah. Ta-da!
And you're like, oh, I'll never forget doing this like radio promo campaign for a record that we made, my old band Down and Above. And I'll never forget, someone, it was expensive and it was all this time. And someone said, oh, well, you're going to go through this and you're going to achieve this amount so that it'll set you up really well for the next one. And I remember thinking like I had just spent 2 years of my life every day just toiling over this thing. And I was like, next one? Like, no. This needs to be the one.
Yeah.
And so, for me, when I dive into something, I go hard after it. I'm trying to keep this a little lighter in terms of I don't want to belabor the process. I don't want it to take years. I'm going to get my friends in a room. I have some structures. They're not super mapped out. I actually really believe in the freedom of, hey, here's this idea. In this next hour while we're working on it, let's make it cool. And that's not something that I did in my youth. It was like practice space 4 times a day or 4 times a week, right? Like mapping it, kick patterns were all locked down, that whole thing.
Yes.
This will be more collaborative. But I love the idea of a pre-launch phase. And then what did you say? So there's pre-launch, then there's what?
Creation phase. So the pre-launch is, where you're actually showcasing the actual creation of the thing itself in real time. And then there's the post-launch phase. And that post-launch phase, like, if you, bearing in mind, if I was speaking to a band, I'd be telling them I'd be like, okay, you need to do reach outs to magazines and you need to get reviews and stuff like that, all of that stuff, which I think, but you have an audience. And I think that's your biggest point of leverage is the audience that you've built on Instagram. So then how do you reward that audience, to go check out the album? And I think that the album, what's the end goal? For me, maybe the end goal, I mean, like when I think about what it is for you, maybe it's to solidify yourself as a player as well as a internet artist, right? You're sort of like on the internet, but just to say, hey, I actually create music as well. And I think that we should be doing that. I've definitely fallen into the trap of not doing that. And I think it's important to do it.
You're solving that.
I am solving it. But I think it's important because ultimately the students, that's what hopefully they're learning for as well, to go and actually create music. And I think that if we're not doing that, if we haven't got projects to showcase our playing, well, I think that we're not doing a great job of being kind of like showing the path to students and members of SBL, for instance, and members of the community. We're kind of like, I think it's just a good thing to do to show that we're actually there's an end here. Well, not an end, but it's more than just kind of shedding licks. It's more than playing scales. It's more than all of that. The actual real goal is to actually create amazing music that inspires people and makes their lives more fulfilling and better and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I think it's going to be awesome, dude. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. And thanks for talking to me about it. I mean, I've been also very inspired by seeing what you're doing, seeing this team that you're pulling together for the record. When do you go in? It's in May, right? It's in a month, about a month?
Shit, dude. Shit.
Sorry.
It's in 4 weeks, yeah. It's 4 weeks. Yeah, it's 4 weeks.
How you feeling?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Things are loose. So I'm not doing a great job of all of the stuff that I've told you about. So I'm not doing a great job of involving the audience that I've built online in the actual creation process of the album. I'm not doing a great job of that, which is pissing me off. And it's, because I could do a much better job. And that's kind of,
yes, but also you have done the things that you were saying of like, hey, check out this line on both of these bases. What do you think? You have done some of it.
I have done some, yeah.
You have.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always do more, of course, but it's not like you're saying this and you've never done it before. I mean, you put up that post about the fretless. Do you think, side note, sorry, do you think that fretless is Excalibur?
I think it is Excalibur, yeah. I think it is.
Oh my God.
I think I'm going to
find it.
I think I found it's a freaking killing bass. It is so amazing. Cool. It is amazing, yeah. Like there's one track that it's maybe, I don't know, where the fretted one sounds pretty cool as well.
Yeah, sure.
But I think I'm going to do it all on fretless. That's the
whole thing?
The whole thing.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I know, the whole thing, yeah. Gustav, do you know Gustav? Is it Broman? Is that his name? He messaged me back. He messaged me last night. He was like on Instagram. He was like, "Dude, you've got to do it all on fretless."
Oh my God, he is such a great player. Shout out to Gustav. He's a beast, man, isn't he? What an unbelievable player. Yeah, he is.
He's frightening.
He has such a sound and a thing and a voice. I see him play that Hofner, and I'm like, I want to commit to just one bass. I'm so inspired by the Excalibur idea. Because he found it. There's no question. You don't see him rocking a P bass occasionally, and no, man.
You know what? As well, like I think that I was thinking about. We've talked about this on the show before. We've talked about what should you only have one bass, and I don't think for many people they shouldn't, because it depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're in your position and you're playing on lots of different albums and stuff like that, you cannot, for the most part, just have one bass. Right. You kind of need these different instruments to get different sounds, which is why you see, those heavy session players with all of the, they've got P bass, they've got a P bass with flats, with rounds, they've got a jazz bass, they've got a modern active 5, they've got a semi hollow. They
go down that list, dude.
The
top 5.
Exactly. It's the stuff that they need, right? But there is, and this is what I've been going through these last sort of like couple of weeks, there is this kind of like beauty about learning how to play one instrument. And I think there's this weird thing you lose when you're like just jumping from instrument to instrument. You kind of, it's this weird thing, and I'm just getting it with this fretless at the minute. I'm actually, it kind of weirdly becomes like an extension of who you are, like your musical self, and I think that I'm hoping that I can make it work for the album. But yeah, like I could be doing a better job of the pre-launch phase of this album. It probably would look like something like, hey, I should email everybody on the list, on SBL's list, and say, hey, I'm doing this album. If you want to be part of the creation process and find out what I'm doing, blah, 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 sign up to this sub list here, and then I'm going to communicate every week to you over the next X amount of time. Like, you're going to get exclusive updates, you're going to get this, you're going to get that, all of that. Like, I should be doing that. I should invite them to, follow me on Instagram, where I'm sharing sort of like daily stories about it as well. Should I have a separate Instagram page for the project? I'm not sure. Should I, Ian?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think just keep it as it is? I definitely keep mentioning it over there.
I think managing 2 pages is suicide. I think I think that your audience, the SBL audience, is going to be interested in what you do. And I think that you absolutely should keep it on the main page 100%. I don't think it'll hurt a thing. In fact, I think it'll help make you seem like a real guy, which you are.
Okay.
I know, because I met you in real life, and I've got your
arms and everything. I've got like arms and everything. So yeah, okay. So maybe I'll do that. Let me think. Like, I feel like I need to get some kind of, because there's like all of these like bonkers players on it, and I think I need to sort of like somehow involve them in the process. I'm not exactly sure what that is yet. Simon's doing a great job of shedding like God damn, that guy's a freak show. I love him.
He's such a monster.
He's a
You know
monster.
what you could do, Scott? Like, you could set up some lives and just go on and talk to Nate for 30 minutes and introduce everybody to Nate Worth, who plays with Snarky Puppy and who's going to be playing Perk on your record, and talk to him about the process. You do it with Cy. Do it with everybody. You know?
Yeah.
Gergo's playing drums, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. God damn it.
that might be tricky to try to set that up with everybody, but like something
it's because they're so busy. That's the thing, is they're just they're really busy. Yeah.
Or even if you just go live and just talk about it for a bit, or you and Cy for sure. I don't know,
some kind of like album diary.
That's cool.
Album diary, is that what it is? Like an album diary, album journal, something, right?
Yep, definitely.
Anyway, so I definitely think I could do a better job of that. And then when we go into the studio, I'm going to get somebody to film all of the behind the scenes stuff. So we're going to make sort of like ideally, I'd love like an hour-long documentary to come out of it.
Yeah.
So, and they can capture Simon and myself talking about the creation process of, he can talk about pulling all of the tracks together and how he did that, how he composed them all, and I can talk about how I put the band together and and all the stuff that went into doing that, and then obviously showing us rehearsing there in the studio, because we have got 0 rehearsals. We're going to go in. We're going in. I think we've got like basically one day. So we've got one day to rehearse some stuff, and then we're going to go in and do it.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is stupid, but because
you guys are beasts. It'll be great.
The material is ridiculous.
It's heavy.
It's freaking heavy. And then for the post-launch, exactly the same, I think, as what I was just saying to you earlier. Like, I want to create. First of all, I want to create. So the bundle, the bonus bundle, is going to be, it's going to be me, like doing the director's cut kind of thing, something like that, where I'm just sort of like listening to all of the tracks. I'm teaching people all of the, here's what I was thinking, here's like the lines. So they're going to get like this full like 60 or 90 minute breakdown of all the tunes. I'm definitely going to do that. They're going to get all of the backing tracks, I think. Like, I think that would be great to do the backing tracks.
Incredible.
So they can shed this stuff. Yeah. And then they're also going to get the lead sheets as well. I think that those 3 things, director's cut, lesson, so like talking people through how to do it all, the lead sheets, and then the backing tracks. So that's, and what I want them to do, well, I don't really know what I want them to go and do yet, but I want to be able to drive consumption of the album, to make sort of like a wave of sort of like activity around the album itself.
Yes.
And then they get rewarded by this bonus bundle that we're going to put together. Then I also thought about doing something cool, like a post launch. So do this for like maybe like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or something like that, and then go into another post launch where I'm like, oh, I'm running a competition. I want everybody to play a track from the album. I want you to upload it to YouTube, tag SBL, upload it to YouTube, and we're going to then get like a bunch of heavy bass players, me, you, a bunch of sort of like SBL bass nerds, and we're going to pick the top 3 that we think nailed it, and then we'll give two like a runner-up prizes, and then we'll give like a bass or something to the winner.
Oh, I love it.
Maybe we'll pay for an F bass fretless or something like that.
Oh, dude, I love this idea.
Do you like the idea?
What a fun YouTube video too. Like, I can already see the thumbnail. Scott and Scott and Ian react. Scott and Ian, tell you why you suck at the bass. That's not what it will be. That's not what it will be. Tell you why you're awesome. Oh, but my brain just goes into YouTube. Title.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
My God, that is so fun. And As I'm sitting here listening to you talk about this, it sounds like you really have ducks in a row. At least, I mean, you have a lot of great ideas.
I've just got ideas. I've got 0 ducks in a row.
The ducks are scrambling all over the yard, dude. The ducks are in the garden. Can we say the ducks are in the garden?
Yeah, they're in the garden.
They're not maybe queued up, but
they're wandering around looking for a home. They're looking for the nest. They're like, where's the nest? Yeah. And I think that I was going to say, like, this is available for everybody as well. I don't think it necessarily needs to be fancy. You can definitely, like, the whole involving the community in the creation of your thing, like, I love that. The pre-launch, it's free. Everybody can do that stuff. All it takes is time. And then the actual showcasing the actual creation of the album or the piece of music itself, if you're a band or a solo artist or whatever, same deal. And then the post-launch, anybody can be like, just create some kind of cool bonus bundle. That could be the band sitting doing the director's cut, they're just talking through, or if you're a solo instrumentalist, you talking through. And it could be shot on your iPhone. It doesn't need to be fancy. Exactly. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be valuable. So, it can be super ghetto, I think. And then obviously if you recorded it depends on the audience. Like my audience are bass players, your audience is bass players. So it kind of sort of like giving them the chance to play along with those tracks themselves. It kind of like it's a bit of an obvious one. So I think that for many bass players, if you're in the same situation, giving them the back into the play along track so they can try it themselves and the charts and stuff like that it's just an easy win. If you were a band, maybe it's the behind the scenes kind of video. Maybe you hire a videographer for the day. It costs you $250 and they film it all, edit it down. Then you've got like a behind the scenes documentary of the day, and that's the bonus bundle. Or maybe there's sort of like a special track, like a secret track that people get. They only get it when they get the bonus bundle. Or I'm not sure exactly what it is, but my point is that I think that it's available to everybody. You just need to get creative with it.
Whew, this is really, really good. And I just want to say that if you're listening and you think, I've always wanted to do something like this, but if you're listening to Scott talk, because Scott, you're not a businessman, you're a business man. You know what I'm saying? That Jay-Z quote? It's one of my favorite Jay-Z quotes. He's like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. They're like, it's so sick. I mean, and you really are. I mean, you're both. You think about strategy, you think about business. You're not necessarily, you're not thinking about, how can I squeeze the most dollars out of this? But you're thinking about like, what's going to make this a win? What's going to build this? You're thinking about building business, building, like brand, building community, and you've done it, and you've done it.
Absolutely. Just to sort of like lean into what you just said there as well. At no point am I thinking about like making any money from it. So if I can figure out what the mechanism is for people to go listen to it, and then they can email something in and say, hey, here's the receipt. Or if I could make it like 1 cent or 1 penny on Spotify, which I can't, but if I could make it like 1 penny on Spotify, and they could just pay that penny, wicked. I kind of the money in terms of this project, and I'm not saying that money's not important. I think that music has changed, and I think that and it depends on what you are trying to build in the world. I'm not trying to build a career just as an artist. I'm actually, or at least I'm not trying to make money out of being an artist. Yes. I guess I am trying to sort of like lean into being more of an artist, but I'm in a situation where my main business is SBL. So therefore, it doesn't really make sense to me to be like, how can I make $100 or $1,000 from this album? Like, I could care less about that.
Right.
Yes. So what I'm trying to do is just get people to go do it. Now I don't know how to, like, what is the mechanism? What do people need to do to get the bonus? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
But what I'm thinking here is if people are like how I felt earlier on in my career, where it's like hearing you talk about bonus, hearing you talk about what's the mechanism, and people are going, like, I'm not even there. I want to do something, but this is too much. This is too much. I wanted to tell you, I went out with a friend of mine, got food recently, Landon Conrath, who is an incredible artist.
Conrath. Check out that name.
Oh, it's so good. He's amazing. He's a pop artist. He's such a frightening talent, singer, songwriter. He can play drums, bass, guitar, keys. He's one of those guys, right, who can do it all. He's in his early 20s. He is frightening. And I was telling him about my project over sushi at Sushi Train. That the train was coming around.
We were grabbing Sushi Train.
Yeah, right? We went to Sushi Train, man. And he said something. I was like, "Oh, do you think it should be this, or do you think it should be this? And how many songs, and what's the length?" And he just said, "Stop. He said, the best thing you can do is just go in. This is a dude is half my age, but has made more records than I have.
Yeah.
Right. He's like, go in. He's like, what's the thing that is the most exciting? He's like, close your eyes and imagine, like, what's the thing that you're like, oh, that would be fun. He's like, what's the thing that's exciting and fun? Go in and do one song. Go in and do 2 songs, book a day. Don't worry about the album. He's like, because what will happen is if you're focused on the thing that is bringing you that welling spirit of like, oh, that would be, I can't wait to do that. Yeah. That will change the project. So he said, you might go in and it doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't matter if it's a drummer or if it's programmed, because for a while I was like, I don't know if I want to reach out to someone to program drums or if I want to have a real drummer. He's like, what feels like it's going to be most creative and fun and like a win for you? And I was like, real drums on the day. He's like, good. Okay. Decision's done.
Yeah.
You go in and you do that. You spend one day, and in that day, you're going to learn so much about what didn't work, what did work. And then who cares? Maybe that's just a single. Maybe that's not even on the album. Maybe there's no album. Maybe it's singles for a year. Yeah. He's like, he's like, the biggest mistake I see old guys, he didn't say that, but that's what he meant. He said, the biggest mistake that I see old guys make is they have it all fully mapped out in their mind, and it doesn't leave any room for the thing to happen. He said, what if you just went in and you made a song? And for me, that I needed that because I didn't have decisions made. I was like,
were you kind of getting like decision fatigue or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I think if I would have come in and said, all the songs are written, the band is ready, we're going in, we're doing it, and this is what it's going to be, he would have said, cool. But I was going, my God, should it be this person? This, should it have, how long is that? And he just said, stop it. Just go in and do it. Just go do one song.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. I think that there's always room for that. I think, what do I think? Well, you know me. I like to get all the juice from the squeeze.
I know. I know exactly. And please push back on it. I just think that, like, if I were listening to this podcast,
I do think he's right. I think he's right. It depends on the individual. I think that if somebody is going to do, let's say somebody is going to do what he recommended, it's actually, for me, listening to that, it's actually becoming becoming comfortable with the creation process. Go just fucking create.
Yes.
Stop pissing around and worrying about this. So just go.
Just do it.
Create.
Yes.
It's more of a it's like somebody sort of like hanging out with you, musicians hanging out with you, right? And he's like, or she's like, I've been thinking about starting Instagram, man. I'm thinking maybe I'm not like maybe react videos, or I'm thinking about starting like a music music comedy show. And I'm thinking about like, what mic do you use? And you're like, well, like how many posts have you done? And they say, oh, well, I haven't posted yet. Like that. So like that advice to that creator, or person that somebody that wants to become a creator is just stop fucking around and just go post and do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Find out. Yeah. Just go create. Do the thing. Whereas if somebody's already up and running and they have like, if they want to make a real impact, I think that decision fatigue, or I'm not sure whether that's the right terminology, but I think that you can tie yourself in knots with decisions. But I think there's also it depends on the person, right? I'm not sure that this sort of like I can map it exactly to sort of like social media, but for instance, if there was and even if there like a new social platform arose tomorrow, it's called TwikTwak, right? And it starts.
Everybody loves TwikTwak.
Yeah, TikTok gets banned and TwikTwak starts, right? So TwikTwak. I definitely wouldn't be like, okay, let's map out a social strategy and we're going to do this and we're going to
Right.
I'd be like, well, let's just start posting on it, see what happens. Let's get a flavor, a taste for it, and then we can iterate as we go. And if we find that there's traction over there, maybe we lean into that. Maybe we don't. Who knows, right? Mm-hmm. But with something like this, it would depend on if I'm in your shoes. What am I thinking? If I'm in your shoes, you are experienced. You are great at what you do. You've got an audience that you've already built. I think there's a real opportunity to make more than a little ripple in the pond.
Yes.
And I do really agree with that kind of, hey, just go, just create, stop, pissing about. But I also, specific for you,
yes,
I think it would be, without tying yourself down with decisions, and actually stopping the process, I think that just getting kind of like what does success look like? Yeah. And then mapping out how you're going to get there, I think would be helpful for you. Maybe not somebody else listening to this podcast. Maybe it's more sort of like about getting in a band or just get going with it. But for you specifically, I think you've got like 40 or 50,000 followers or more on Instagram. I think that what a great opportunity. And maybe you could just put some out. But
right.
Why
but
not?
You think I've gone too far, and you think that would be a squandered opportunity, potentially.
There's a difference between writing a blog post and writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to write a blog post or do you want to write a book?
Right.
Very different things. Same deal, right? Just words on pages. A blog post is something where you just it's a thought captured in time, and you're putting it out, right? A book, it's like it's a self-contained set of ideas, and it requires a little bit more thought up front, but it is absolutely needed in the world, just like albums are. We still need to have them, and I think that, and hey, maybe these are blog posts. Maybe these are blog posts and you're just sort of like flexing a little bit. You're doing some training in the gym just to get into the actual, the actual sort of like process of it from a creation point of view. And then you're like, hey, I've actually done 6 of these now, ready to do the book. And the book is obviously the album.
Right. And you, sir, are writing a book.
I'm doing the book. And there's a specific reason for that. It's because it's very expensive to get videographers and heavy artists and for a blog post. It's like, hey, I'm getting the front cover designed. Yeah. There's going to be photos in that book. It's going to be bound. Like it's a heavy project. Yeah. And also I feel that, I have thought about doing the more blog post approach. I have thought about that before. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to like leverage time. I want to get a lot of goodness in a small amount of time, rather than having sort of like a rolling kind of commitment throughout the year. Now, I also think that there is the upside of having a rolling commitment throughout the year is that from a perception point of view, so, for instance, there's A, B, or C. A is that you release blog posts. Like a blog post is maybe it's a 3-minute video. It's a you upload it onto Spotify or something. It's a track, right?
It's a single.
It's a single. You release a single and you do it monthly. Well, actually, that's freaking cool.
Yeah,
I actually think there's a real space for that, and I think that in many ways, EPs are maybe the way to go. Again, I don't know shit about this thing, but just sort of like using my brain a little bit, I'm just like, maybe EPs are the way to go. Maybe, and just like more repetition, more volume in terms of like the release schedule and stuff like that, because then in the listener's mind, you are just there doing more. You're releasing more. Like Corey Wong's done a great job of this. He's more like albums and stuff like that, but the actual frequency of the music that you produce, I think, is really important, because we're just in such a noisy world now. So that's A. B is just the album. It's just sort of like a bloop. It's a book. It's a point in time, and I think that it's great. But the challenges with that, then how do you also get the rep? How do you get the reps in? How do you keep that consistency up? Do you then start releasing EPs? Like, I've already started thinking about this. I haven't even shared this with Simon yet, but I'm also like, just the other day I was like, oh, we need to do like a big band album, a fusion big band album of this, these tracks, like a freaking big band. Like,
that's so cool.
With horn play all arranged and just sounding sort of like mental, you know what I mean? I'm already trying to think about what is the next thing, and I think that's the challenge there. And then I think that version C is you do both. You've got the album, and then you iterate and sort of like you drop EPs in between and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the reason I brought up the Landon Conrath idea of singles, it doesn't have to be locked down. It's not so much... I'm somewhere in the middle. I definitely know that I have an opportunity to bring my community into this process. I'm not just going to go in and whatever. But I wanted to say that because I thought I was surprised at that advice, and it was freeing in a way. And so the reason I said it is not because I think you should be doing that, Scott. God, no, right? Like,
to give people different options, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, if you're out there going, oh my God, do I need to book Nate Worth from Snarky and, and play all this stuff live and, have this whole thing mapped out and have the project name? And no, you don't. You can go into the studio with your friends and create something, and it likely will be a life-changing thing. Like, if you prioritize that, I can speak from experience because I've done that over the years, and I know you have too, Scott. Like, when you have a project where you're like, I'm going to set aside some time for this creative project that isn't necessarily going to be super monetarily lucrative. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It fills you. It inspires you. It makes you think, oh, how can I have more of this in my life? It gives you the juice to keep moving in the ways that you need to be making money and want to be making money. It's so important. It's so important. Yeah. And so I think, no matter how you slice it or how you want to participate in the creative process, you have to do it. You have to start, because it will change. It will fundamentally change your life. It'll change your perspective, and it'll change where you're going to go. And I think that is a risk worth taking.
100%. Yeah, 100%. What a great conversation, man. Well, it was for me.
Dude, me too. It was amazing. I really appreciate it. And I also want to say, do you have that F bass behind you?
I've got it over there. Do you want me to go at it?
Yep.
Hold it.
Scott found Excalibur. Can I just say that I feel a little bummed? Show everybody this bass. I was just saying that, like, okay, so you found Excalibur, and now I'm like, oh God, look at that thing. If you're not watching on YouTube,
get on YouTube, people.
Subscribe to the pod. It's Scott's Bass Lessons Podcast on YouTube, the SBL Podcast. What do we call it on YouTube, Scott? Is it the SBL Podcast? Or is it Scott's Bass Lessons Podcast? I should know.
I'm not. Just put Scott's Bass Lessons Podcast in. You'll find it there. But look, like a bass, dude. Secondhand. Here's something funny. I actually played this bass years ago.
You did?
I played it years ago, and it was one that got away. Oh yeah!
You're kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Did you know that when you found it?
I did. So 5, maybe even more, maybe like 7 years ago, I'm in London at the Gallery, which is a great shop in London.
Bass Gallery,
yeah, we were shooting some videos in there, and there was and this fretless was in there, and I played it, and it was outlandishly nice, and I was like, oh, this thing's so nice. Anyway, I didn't buy it, but I thought about buying it on the day. I was like, and I just don't think I had enough money, and I kind of every time I thought about fretlesses, this bass always popped into my mind. I was like, damn, that F bass fretless from 7 years ago was so nice. Anyway, so I went onto Instagram and I'm like talking. I think I put a post out saying something like, hey, if anybody knows of an F bass fretless for sale, let me know, because I'm looking for one based off of this bass.
You're kidding me.
No, like based off of trying this years ago.
Wow.
And absolutely loving it. I just thought, well, if I was going to play fretless, it's just so great. And obviously I have the Willis fretless. We've joked about this before. I can't turn up like the Willis fanboy, even though I'm a Willis fanboy. Do you know what I mean? Like
you can't.
I need to have my own thing going on, right?
Yeah,
so, and this guy messaged me on Instagram. He's like, "Oh, this bass is for sale in the Gallery," and I was like, "What?"
It was back at the Gallery.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that I'd seen it sold, because all of the basses in the Gallery on the website, they're all there. So there was like a little sold sign next to it, and it had been there for years, sold, right? And whoever bought it took it back and sold.
They said like this shit is hard to play. That's what they said to themselves.
Yeah, and put it up for sale again. So I actually got the bass, and the only thing that I changed about it is that I got lines put in it. So Martin at the Bass Gallery is actually a great luthier as well. He put lines in it because some of the stuff that we're playing is really challenging, and I need a little bit of help with the navigation when I'm making these huge jumps around the fretboard. So I got that bass. So I'm really pleased about it. Yeah.
Well, and it's cool. Lines where I live, the climate, it's so awful up and down with the humidity and the temperatures that like lines start to like pop out of the fingerboard. But the UK is just such a nice, stable climate for the most part.
Just wet. Just wet, lots of moisture. Yeah, just wet and muddy.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I was saying, as you were picking it up, I was disclosing to the listeners that the search for Excalibur may now just be over for you. And can I say something? Yeah. I am sad about it.
Are you? You're feeling sad about the
it sucks. Yeah, I mean, congratulations, motherfucker. But but now it's over. That's the thing, dude. That's the thing about finding Excalibur. Then you don't get to find Excalibur anymore.
Yeah, like I've actually, that is true. I was talking to Story, my son, about it earlier, because he's like mad about Rubik's cubes. He's got all of these Rubik's cubes, and man, honestly, for any parents out there, get your kids into Rubik's cubes, because it's like the most affordable hobby ever. Ever. Like I've got him like the Rolls freaking Royce Rubik's Cube, right? This is like the best you can. This is the Federa, right? This is the Federa Cube. Do you know how much it was? $60. $60. That's it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is the best hobby ever. Anyway, so he's got all of these cubes, and one of them is actually one of his favorite ones. Actually, it's my daughter's. He decided to treat my daughter. He was like, I'm going to get Winter one of these posh cubes. And it was like $20, right? Amazing. Yeah. So he gets it, and he actually he's like, oh, I love that cube that I've got Winter. So he's buying himself one of these simpler cubes. And he was in this kind of like weird space where he was like, I don't get it. He was like, I've got this like $60 cube. He said, why do I prefer the $20 cube? And I was like, because just because something is more expensive doesn't mean it's any better. It actually, sometimes something that's much simpler might be something that you want to go for, and you might see real value in that. I was like, I've got a lot of different basses, and some of them have got all of the fancy knobs and all of the And I was like, hey, and some of them, like, you can get a bass. I was like, look at this wall bass. I was like, it's crazy expensive. I was like, it's over like £10,000 or something. I was like, my favorite bass is this bass right here, this fretless. I was like, it's pretty simple. It's got no frets. It's black. It's got no fancy woods on it or anything like that.
Right, yes.
And I was like, same deal. Okay, just because this bass is very expensive doesn't mean that I'm going to like it better. And I was like, it's the same with Rubik's Cubes, right? So you like what you like. And sometimes you might value simplicity, therefore you go for that. Anyway, I was telling a story. I was like, I'm thinking about having a bass cull. I'm thinking about selling a lot of basses.
Yes.
I've got a lot of basses, and I'm just thinking about committing to a small amount of basses.
Oh my God.
Yes. Just to do it. Just to like experience it. Like, what does that mean?
I want to do it too. Oh, but it's so hard for me. Oh my God. Can we talk about it now? Is it another episode?
Well, I'll give you I'm just looking right now. Of all of the basses here, I'd probably keep 1, 2, probably keep 5, maybe tops. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 13. So that would be 8 I would sell just from here. And then I've got other ones down the studio that I'm also thinking about selling.
Sure.
And the reason I'm thinking about selling them is not so to get money back from them or anything like that. It's just to sort of like simplify my life a little bit, just sort of like just dedicate, like not dedicate myself, but just commit to it, to the simplification. So the Ibanez Willis would go. I've got an F-bass 6-string. That would go. I've got a Lever Capolo Jazz. That would go. I've got Federa. That would go. I've got a 70s Jazz. That could go. I've got a P-bass. That would go. I've got...
Wow.
Yeah. Like the only ones I think
dude. Are you going to name the list of the 5 keepers right now? Are we talking 5 keepers?
Kubicki.
You don't have to say Kubicki. You don't have to say it.
No, the Kubicki has to stay, dude. The Kubicki has to. I was playing it yesterday, actually. I was having like a full-on slap extravaganza last night. I walked in, Lisa, I was in there like in the cabin, and I walked in sort of like sweaty. Lisa was like, "Where have you been? I thought you just went to lock up." I was like, "Oh yeah, I was just locking up." I was like, exactly. I was like, it was a bit messy over there. I decided to clean up a little bit, tidy up a bit. I actually, the truth was, I left it in a worse state than I actually found it. But anyway, so the keepers, Kubicki, Mane 6-string, because that thing's it's just bonkers and it's like really unique.
Beautiful.
80s Smith,
the 4-string.
Yes, because you just can't get them anymore.
Right.
So yeah, Kubicki, Mane 6-string, the 80s Smith, the wall bass.
Yes, I was hoping you would say that.
The wall bass, the F bass, fretless. Oh, and the fretted F bass as well, the banana bass.
Holy shit. So there's not a Fender in sight. There's not a jazz bass and there's not a P bass.
I think I think I'll keep the Alinto. I can't get rid of the Alinto. I can't
like because 7, it's 8. No, does the number from 5 creep up?
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. But yeah, like, so I've got a few different jazz basses. I think I should just keep one. I think I should just sell the rest. I should sell the rest. I've got a few different P basses. I think I should just sell the. Like,
yes,
I'm even thinking about selling the Bass of Doom.
God, crazy, yeah. Oh, it's such a it's a delicious idea. Like, sometimes I go around my room and I count like, oh, which ones of these, if they were gone, would it be okay? And it's a lot.
Is it a lot? Would you be left with like, how many have you got? 40?
There's no way I could do 5, or at least not feel good about it. Would you end
up with like 10 or 15 or something? Like left, I mean, even 10 or 15 left.
Even like 20, I think is sort of tricky. But yes, I think I could get it down to 10 and not be like, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Wow. Thinking about getting it down in single digits. What if that's the rule? Single digits.
Maybe single digits. Yeah. Yeah. God, if anybody's wondering, like if they're just like, you pretentious little twats, like, I can't believe it. Like, I've got so many bases. Like, we've been at this for a long time.
And it's
you just accumulate them.
Yeah, people sometimes tend to think it's like a brag. It's actually fucking pathological. I mean, it's not like, it's that meme you sent me. It's like, oh, I've got so many bases. I'm living high on the hog. It's like, no, bro, I'm just irresponsible. Like, I should have a killing like Roth IRA, but no, I've got a 65p base, and like, oh my God, it's so dumb. But yes, the call to the cull. See, first of all, I need to apologize because I have not been a good influence on you with bases. I mean, you have not. Like,
you're basically like a dealer, like, like a drug dealer. Like, I met you, I was clean, and now I'm sort of like just an addict. I'm basically
I'm on
the street, man.
and I'm like, and I'm hearing you talk about getting down to 5. I'm like, oh yeah, let's bump it up to 9. Still in single digits. That's fine. 9 is fine.
Yeah. Oh my word.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you have it. I'm thinking about it. And maybe I get, like, maybe we sell them. I don't know. Maybe I put it in sort of like, put in a high savings account for the kids or something like that. That would feel good. That would feel cool.
That's a great idea.
Is there any high interest savings accounts? I don't think there is anymore, is there? Just...
I'm like that is a relic of the early aughts.
Yeah. You're gonna get like half. You're gonna get 0.5% every 10 years.
I don't know, but I do. I will say, as a mid-40s guy, when I go home and I see my father's collections, where he collects coins, guns, swords. Yeah, he has a huge collection of swords from this company called Albion that makes these incredible recreations, like legit, like World War. I mean, ancient.
Does he dress up when nobody's around? No. There's old Bob Allison, like, he puts on, he dresses up and he like stands with his swords.
No, he just thinks they're cool. Like he doesn't do any like cosplay or any recreation, any of that stuff.
It'd be so amazing if you had a separate life you didn't know about.
And he's like, surprise, I do. And I'm like, oh my God, Dad. But when I see his collector bent, it does make me want to reduce mine.
It does. Oh, interesting.
It really does. It's not inspirational, I will say. I mean, I love my dad, and I love, he's into stuff and he gets really into it, and I love that. That's where it comes from for me. Yeah. But when I see it kind of take over the house, not at like a hoarding level, but like I see like it's going to be difficult to deal with for him. Or for anyone else. Yeah. And I see that in myself, where I see, I don't have 40, but close. Yeah. And I think like, that's going to be hard to deal with for me or for someone else. And I think that's not cool. It's
do a cull, dude. Do a cull.
A cull of the big cull.
I was going to take it all to Andy's. Mr. Baxter. I'm just going to take them all to Andy. I haven't mentioned it to Andy yet. That, hey, by the way, I'm coming round with like 15 bases.
What about the ovation?
The ovation stays, dude. The ovation has to stay.
Yes, of course it does.
The ovation has to stay.
Yes. There are others that will stay as well.
Oh man, that ovation is so good. Bo do 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 do.
Yeah.
If anybody's wondering, I've got the bass, the ovation bass that played that track. What's the Don't Stop Believing by the by what band was it?
Journey.
Journey, yeah.
Ross Valerie.
Yeah, Ross Valerie. I've got that bass that recorded that track, which is very cool. And it sounds just like the actual track as well.
I liked awesome. Your idea of, when you were talking, you're like, I'm going to get a bass collection. And I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, one of us. One of us. And you had this thing of like, oh, I want to do it where I have pieces that have some significance. Yes. Historical significance to me. That's why you bought the Wall. Historical significance in rock and roll, the Journey bass. I don't know, dude. I think that's cool. That's sort of more curated. It's a museum idea. Yeah. It's like having a reason for it versus just like, oh, all these things.
Okay. Damn you, Allison. Damn you. Just like
remember, Scott, remember everyone listening, double art. This is the only thing in the world that is simultaneously art and a tool to make art. God That's fucking cool.
It is cool. Hey, should we call it? Yeah, should we do the we're going to do the tube amp one next, right?
Yeah, we are. Oh yeah, okay. We are.
Guys, we'll see you in the next one. It's going to be all about tube amps.
Oh, tube amps.
And we're going to be talking about that new Ampeg thing. Have you seen that?
Ooh. The new Ampeg thing? I don't know if I have.
The new Ampeg pedal, the preamp.
Oh, yes, I have seen that. It looks really cool. We're also going to be talking about the new Fender all-tube Adam Clayton signature combo.
Well, let's do it. Okay, dudes, take it easy. We'll see you when we see you. And, hop along to the next podcast if you want to hear about tube amps. See you then.
Take care, everybody.